But new releases. So this week, new releases. There again. Last week there were 2 weeks ago, one episode ago. There were so many things coming into the Thanksgiving holiday. Even though we had 2 weeks, I'm telling you, I didn't have enough time to watch all this shit. Like, there's so much, and most of these are like series, or multiple episodes. I like how. Did he just try to FaceTime me? Did he FaceTime you?
No, he didn't.
Maybe it was an accident. On the episode by FaceTime.
He's trying to get on the episode by FaceTime. Don't let him on.
FaceTime me again, please. This is good content.
Just hold it up to the camera.
FaceTime me back there, Mike. Whatever.
He didn't like what I said. That's why. He didn't like what I said at all.
He just wants to get on the screen to tell Dom to shut up.
Yeah, he can tell me to shut up all he wants.
Let's see if we can get him.
Punk ass.
No, my headphones are attached. Let's see, speaker.
Yep. See.
So I'm here to defend myself.
No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to just call in whenever you feel like.
Dominic.
This is a live show.
Yeah, live call-ins, though. I support it.
All right. What's up? What do you got to say?
Dominic.
I can hear you. He can't hear us.
All right.
He can hear you. I got my headphones in, so just talk all the trash.
So yeah, I'm here to defend myself. Go ahead. Either praise me or shut up.
I know you can't hear me, so you can see that.
There you go.
So this is like a live call-in for a radio show in the 25th century.
This is awesome. I'm in favor of this. If you know any of us, and you want to jump on the show, feel free to call in. The number is 555. Stay alive. Moving right along. This week on new releases, we're going to start off with one alphabetically in the first order here. Arcane, which I guess is a part of the League of Legends universe. Thankfully, never played the game League of Legends, and
Me neither.
have no idea what's happening in this show. I hear good things, though. The plot is basically amidst the escalating unrest between the advanced utopian city of Piltover and the Squalid, which I'm assuming is a group of people, repressed under city of Zwan, Sisters V and Jinx find themselves on opposing sides of a war, sides of a war over twisted ideologies and arcane technology. That was a lot. That was a big sentence that should have been two.
And those are some SAT words.
Yeah, opposing real hard. I mean, it definitely it's
ideology.
I'm minded on etymology. But yeah, so at least the visuals look pretty cool. I hear a lot of good things about the show in general. I know Mahaffey was a fan of the show. I think Sean might have even said he started kind of watching it a little bit. But it's on Netflix. I had to go with it. I've seen it kind of pop up in the top 10 here or there. It didn't have my attention right away because Cowboy Bebop was the bigger kind of draw, I think, from last week, which is our next subject. But what did you guys hear about this, if anything?
My understanding is this is like the anti-Witcher. You don't need to have played the game at all to know what's going on in the show, and I've heard the show is fantastic.
Okay.
I just watched the first episode like 5 minutes before we started, and I agree. I don't know shit about League of Legends, but the story is easy to follow. The voice acting is exceptional because it's Haley Steinfeld is the main character. She plays V, but almost everybody else are mainstays of voice acting in games. Nice. I think like Yuri Lowenthal's a character. Like we were going through it and it's awesome, and the animation's fucking beautiful, and the music is off the chain. Like I said before, I like Imagine Dragons, and then it's the opening song, but the whole score for the whole show is really great.
And then Sting, I guess, has got a song in the show too. So,
shit. I mean, Riot's got fucking money. Riot, they can throw as much money as they want at this. League of Legends is a goddamn cash cow, and Valorant is no slouch either at this point.
True.
It's really cool.
I was gonna say it was a good enough trailer that even my other half wants to watch it, and she's not I'm an air quote cartoon person, so I mean, it's gotta be something.
Ashley was the same. Ashley like saw it, like we were trying to like figure out what the hell to watch because we had watched Hawkeye and everything, and we were just sitting on the couch, and I was like, I don't have enough time for a movie. So we started scrolling through Netflix, and she saw the trailer for this, and she's like, "This looks fucking cool." So we put on the first episode, and it was awesome.
Bang on. All right, this one I
But
think
the next
is good.
shit is the shit.
I think this is going to be for both of you guys. I watched the first 2 episodes. I've got opinions. They're probably not popular ones, but it's because I don't.
You're gonna shit on this like you shit on Eternals?
No, I'm not going to do what I did last time go with my opinion first because I had the last sentence. So you guys go for it and convince me why.
I'll set the
dumb.
bar here because I'll set the bar here because I'm gonna look up exactly what I said to you guys.
You did
on
say
the side
something
of it.
very poignant. I want to hear it again.
So, a lot of the folks that I've seen hating on this, whether it's in comment sections, which is obviously the last place you should ever go for your reviews of any content, or just articles themselves. I think Kotaku had a pretty fucking terrible take on this show, but they have pretty terrible takes on a lot of things. The people that hate on this show that I've seen are either the folks that forgot the anime still exists, or the folks that thought Vicious was like peak cool 15 years ago.
You say weebs and edgelords.
I did say weebs and edgelords.
You said weebs and edgelords specifically.
Weebs and edgelords, and folks that also hate women getting a real story arc. Because the thing to keep in mind is, a lot of the folks that are bitching about this, I don't know the last time they watched the anime. Vicious was only in like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 episodes, and Julia was in even less. And they said maybe 30 lines combined.
Yeah.
So this show took these background characters and fleshed them out and like gave them a real life. And I think they did a fantastic job. I think the design that they went with for Vicious was fantastic. A lot of people were saying that he looked like I saw one comment I think on Reddit saying that he looked like the equivalent of a Walmart discount bin, but from your local like sex shop. Which
that's the look right. I want.
Which is fine, but like that's also what he looked like in the anime. So stop acting like it's anything different.
Yeah.
But the thing that really got me was the very end. One of the things that did bug me about the show was Ed was only ever really referenced. You never saw Ed until the very end of the show, or in the live action series. And they brought Ed out right at the end, who then teases the potentially not yet confirmed season 2 topic of them pretty much picking up where the movie is, which I loved. And I am absolutely here for it. And if they don't do it, if they back out of a second season of this because, some weebs and edgelords are all pissy, and forget that like you can watch the anime whenever you want. If I don't get to see Vincent and the Golden Butterflies, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. I thought the acting was fantastic. I thought the music, Yoko Kanno crushed it, knocked it out of the park again. The set design was awesome. The show was great. I'm hyped for season 2. And I would even settle for a live action Cowboy if they followed the whole thing and then said, we're going to do a movie instead of a season 2. And we're pretty much just going to remake the anime, the movie. I'd be fine with that too. I want to see more of these folks in this universe, especially now that they've gotten to where they are.
I don't have shit else to say. He summed it up. Like, that's exactly how I feel.
I got to tell you, like you said, I'm only 2 episodes in. And coming off that trailer, right, where there's all these nice cutscenes and it seems pretty quick, I thought it was going to be a lot faster paced overall. And that's probably where I got disappointed. And my brain had to take a little time to go, that's not this kind of show, right? Like,
yeah.
I started to enjoy it again in like the wedding / church scene with the bathroom fight and him sitting there like just talking to him in his ear, and he's like that whole dialogue while he's getting the shit kind of kicked out of him or fighting that dude in the bathroom. That's where I got back into it. And
I just wanted the double pump. I
Yeah.
just wanted the arm double pump in the bathroom.
So like that's about where I stopped watching was once his face got knocked the hell out in front of that church. But like to be fair, I had an expectation going in, which was my first mistake, right? So will I watch it? Yeah. Can I watch it while working or like doing something else? No. I've got to give it the due diligence of my attention. The same thing I think goes for Arcane and one of these next topics, Hellbound, that we'll be talking about, because obviously
that's for a different
subtitles.
reason.
Yeah. But I digress. So overall, I mean, I enjoyed the parts that I at least focused on.
That's a good point, because I had a hard time tracking this show if I wasn't like solely focused on it. So I would
does
agree with you on that.
It jumps topics pretty quick. Like I thought I fell asleep or something, and I was like, okay, now we're near a plane. We're trying to shoot these people that are shooting at us, and there's a girl with vials in her belly or whatever, and I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. So like, where's my spoiler banner? But so it jumped around
That
a little bit.
episode 1 is almost shot for shot from the
It
anime.
is.
Yeah. Which is like, again,
That's
I
how
should
you
have.
do a good fan service.
That's what I'm saying.
So felt to
Get that
all
one
those,
out of the way, and then get your original stuff going.
all your weebs and edgelords, go procreate by yourselves. But next topic.
Weaves are the worst.
Weebs.
I will go on record.
Such a good word.
Put me on- If I ever campaign for office, that is what my campaign is. Weaves are the worst.
So Wheel of Time.
I'm just
we
kidding.
talked
I
about
love
this
you,
two episodes ago. It's on Amazon Prime. This is one of those. This and the next topic kind of had mentioned last week how I was worried about what the CGI is going to end up looking like. It definitely is a little bit more fun. My other half cannot stand the main actress, Rosamund Pike, because of the movie Gone Girl. And because of her
She
work,
is such a bitch in that movie.
and because of her
my
work in
God.
a
But I love
Netflix
her.
movie recently, where she's basically like exploiting these older people as their power of attorney, and and of course I go like, yeah, you don't like that actress because she was so great at being hateable, like that's hard to separate. Like if you like, she did such a good job of portraying that character that you have a visceral reaction just to seeing her face. You got to watch the movies they're in. It's the same thing with like, I think the first Benedict Cumberbatch movie she ever watched, like his character happened to be trying to be getting with a 15-year-old. And ever since then, she's like, I don't like Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm like, yeah, because it's an actor.
That kind
and
of
he did
thing
a
will
great
stay with
job. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
scarring, right?
My
But, like,
mom feels that way about Jason Alexander from Seinfeld. She hates George Costanza with a passion. It will not watch anything with Jason Alexander in it
Oh, man,
See?
I
because
love
she
that.
thinks that he is
That's
George
amazing.
Costanza.
I mean, there's a reason they keep getting jobs is because they're good at what they do. But I will say the storyline is kind of fun. There's magic involved. The actual like fight scenes in the first couple episodes were pretty sweet, and the CGI for these like huge like Minotaur type beasts was actually pretty good. So if you get a little bored, you want to have a little fantasy thing to put on before bedtime, this is definitely right up there. If you're like me, where you can kind of watch something and then dream a little bit in that kind of world or space, this is it. It's the same reason I watch like the World of Warcraft movie, because I get my dreams to kind of fight that way. Now, granted, that was before the Bobby Kotick, hasn't been on my screen since then. But again, definitely worth kind of watching in the background and enjoying. You don't necessarily have to pay attention because the overall story or point of the story is told to you in about 5 minutes, about 55 different times. Like they never don't remind you that there is a bad person that's been reincarnated and they got to find the bad person. That's the point of the whole thing. So leave it or take it, but at the same time, definitely worth watching if you got Amazon Prime. The next one, Hellbound. This is the one I couldn't watch if I'm trying to work. I've really got to sit there and give all the attention I want to. But this falls prey to my like personal taste in CGI. Like there's definitely the budget you see for television. And this, if people are watching right now, the smoke monsters that are shown in the image, like the quality that you're seeing in this kind of like wallpaper is kind of the quality you see in the smoke monsters. The lighting effects aren't quite where I want them to be. Having said that, everything else is pretty damn good. The acting, people being scared. I mean, there's a guy who is first being hunted in the first episode. He looks so scared, and he is getting the shit kicked out of him.
I think you can see the actual pee coming up, like dripping down his leg.
Yeah, like the snot and
I want to
blood
talk
mixing
about Hellbound,
together,
but I need to go back to something you just said.
Yeah, go for it.
You got a problem with CGI, okay? Like you got a problem with this CGI because you're like you got some things about the CGI. You're a goddamn Doctor Who fan.
Bro.
That's the worst CGI in fucking television.
Nah, see, here's the difference. I go into Doctor Who with an expectation of shipboard CGI, and I get pleasantly surprised every once in a while. This I went into.
It is so goddamn bad.
This is not a 60-plus year running show on a very low budget on the BBC. This is like a premiere from the Train to Busan team that I'm expecting.
No, it's not though. That's the problem. Is you got the wrong expectation.
See, expectations ruin it.
It is, but it's not.
Reset my expectations.
So, the Train to Busan team, like their CGI was a lot more practical effects than anything else.
Yeah,
and you can't really do giant smoke monsters with practical effects.
Then they shouldn't have done smoke monsters.
Well, so it's part of the comic, and so I don't know if either one of you have looked at the comic for this.
No.
So I've known about the comic for a while. I guess when this show first got announced that they were making it, they just recently, I guess like a month and a half ago, started releasing the comic on Webtoon in English, but they're only doing one episode a week. So where they are right now in the English version on Webtoon is, I think, like the end of episode 2 or maybe the middle of episode 3.
Okay.
Of the show. There are, I think, 22 episodes is what they call them. Think of it like issues, I guess.
Yeah.
I think there's like 22 issues total or something like that. So it's going to be a while before all of the English ones are done. But the show's been pretty faithful to what I've seen of the original Korean one, and then what I've read with the English translations. They did come out and say that like there's a big change at the end, the way this story ends versus the way it ends in the comics. But like design wise, the smoke monsters are actually, I think part of the issue that you might have is like you're expecting them to be more fleshed out, maybe, or more realistic looking, but they look almost exactly like they do in the comics. Like they were designed to look how they were drawn.
Okay.
Which is really impressive.
I mean, I think the other thing too for me at the beginning was very funny. It was like, hey, yeah, oh, do you believe this? Oh, it's got to be a hoax. Oh no, I totally believe it. And then 2 seconds later, massive havoc is brought on by these huge juggernaut smoke monsters. I'm like, how are people not believing it? Like they're literally just crushing, throwing dudes into vans. Like, oh, this definitely got to be a hoax. Like, what? Is this not happening all that? So I'm going to give it a full-on shot with all my attention, and I'm sure my opinion will change.
I'm going to give Doctor Who a shot, by the way, Ernie. and like you're going to give it a shot. My wife really likes it. Ashley really likes it.
Do it.
And I know
one of the things I'll suggest for Hellbound, because this is one of the few times that I tried to put the English dub on just so I could like hear it and kind of pay attention while I was working, and it just it didn't work out. But because it moves, the pacing is kind of slow, except for I guess the action sequences with the smoke monsters or when there's other side stuff going on. Take advantage of Netflix's speed up feature. Set it to like 1.25 or 1.5. If you do it that way, like if you're watching on your TV, or if you have I've got a plugin for Chrome that lets me kind of set my speed to whatever I want. But that has made a world of difference because the show does kind of move slowly. It is a little bit of a slog at times, but if you speed it up, it feels just right.
Nice.
That's cool.
No, that's actually good. That's a good call.
I want to watch it. I haven't heard much about it.
If I see like, oh, we're just gonna be driving down the road, nobody's talking in anything, I'm like, bip 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 bip. I'm jumping through it.
The show is very good. The comic's very good. I think so. Netflix did this whole. There were a bunch of articles about how when this show first released, that it unseated Squid Game as like their number one show on Netflix.
Damn.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that people saw Squid Game and they're like, some of these names look familiar. It's another Korean show. The last one I saw was fantastic. Let's watch this. They're completely different shows. The pacing is completely different. From what I've seen so far, Squid Game is the better show. But this has been really good so far.
Nice. Cool. Well, there you go. If you haven't watched it, give it a shot.
Battle Royale to come back.
What, is that ever coming back?
I hope so. The second one was terrible, but the first one was really good. Have you ever watched it?
No.
You ever watched Battle Royale? It was the Hunger Games before the Hunger Games.
Yeah. The second one wasn't like the second one was not as good.
No, but it was
It was campy. Right. It was campy and dumb. Like the collars was silly. And then like storming the beach like it's Normandy or something. But yeah, that first one was legit.
Yeah, the first If you've never seen it, Ernie, and you liked Squid Games, and Hunger Games,
Battle Royale is like the impetus for all of the like late aughts youth like YA novels about kids killing each other to survive in some dystopian hellhole.
Yeah,
nice.
Divergent, The Maze Runner.
Yeah, all of that is just Battle Royale for
all
white,
of that
for
is
white kids.
Just Battle Royale, but white people.
Sounds right up my alley.
It's really good. No, look, Battle Royale's dope, dude.
Yeah, the first one's legit.
It's like ultra violent and like, yeah.
Have you guys ever? Okay, before we go on to the next one, a worthy note. I think it's called the Belford Project Experiment.
The Belko Experiment.
That's it.
Yeah, the Belko Experiment. That movie's hilariously bad.
It's so good. It's so good. It's a James Gunn movie. A bunch of famous faces in it. His brother Sean Gunn's in it. Michael Rooker's in it. Let's see, John C. McGinley from Scrubs is in it. I mean, it's long story short, a bunch of office workers get caught in an office building. All the windows just get covered in steel, and it's you have 1 hour to kill 10 people, or you start executing. And just antics.
How come I've never heard of this fucking
it's
movie?
So randomly
that
good.
Sounds
dude.
awesome.
It came out in 2016.
So it got marketed pretty well actually, but it was a pretty big flop.
I like it.
It was not a good movie, but it was definitely a fun movie.
That's the point. It's like it's a bunch of faces. Like you're like, oh, I remember that guy from that thing. Or I remember that person from that one film. And then you're like, okay, how are they going to kill each other with office supplies? Like, okay, this is going to be great. Yes, let's go. But I digress. Yeah. The next one up, 8-Bit Christmas. We talked about it last week. And I'll be honest with you, Sam, you really sold me on it. I'm like watching it, making a point to watch it. I started watching it with Michelle. Antics ensued. I haven't finished it yet, but you're right out of the gate when you said, thank you guys for letting me know this movie exists. And because Steve Zahn is magical, he is magical. And even just the first interaction with, here we go. I'm not going to fuck this one up. Spoiler alert. This movie I enjoyed because obviously the synopsis is basic. In 1980, Chicago, a 10-year-old sets out on a quest to get the Christmas gift of his generation, the latest and greatest video game system, the Nintendo. It takes place from the point of view of Neil Patrick Harris talking to his daughter as he's kind of introducing her into the Nintendo that he has at his parents' house and how he got it. And just the beginning portions of just remembering what entertaining yourself really was like back then. And granted, it's the late 80s. I was probably 4. but it's definitely still crosses over in the early 90s for me, and just the amount of like playing is playing outside. You're not wearing helmets when you're doing half the shit you're doing. There are no elbow pads. Yeah. Like, and you can just go outside. Like, there's no like a stranger danger that you're really kind of crazily worried about. Granted, it's there, but we don't talk about it because that's how you get tougher. But like,
because the internet wasn't a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And the couple of things I thought that really jumped out to me was, one, Steve Zahn's interaction with the daughter in the family. She's always just tattling on the brother, and he's like, yes, you're perfect in every way. Like, yeah, like he just adores her. And with my own daughter now, I'm kind of like the same way. I'm like, yeah, you could do no wrong. You're great. But he's always just ragging on his son.
Have you gotten to the part where the son asks why she always gets what she wants?
Not yet. But I've got a feeling I'm going to be like, yep. The other thing I really liked was, and I mentioned this earlier about like the calculator. Why wouldn't you just use the calculator, bust it out? There you go, do the math. The teacher is like, oh, we're going over the Dewey Decimal System today. Trust me, kids, you're going to really need this. And what else? It's just like cursive. You're going to need these life skills. And I was like, they don't even teach cursive or the Dewey Decimal System anymore. Like, what?
Well, people just don't like write by hand anymore anyway.
Yeah, I just this is too real though. It's the same thing when like we had those huge TI-83s or whatever, like brick calculators. Like,
hey, those things were great for playing Snake and Drug War.
Drug War.
I still have a TI-83.
You still play Drug War?
No, I don't play Drug War.
Drug War. Yes. If I knew I was going to fail a test, I just played Drug War the entire time. So I didn't even bother.
That was the real way to learn economics.
Yeah.
That's what those calculators teaching you.
Yeah, we're teaching supply and demand right here. But no, so far so good. What are your overall thoughts, Sam?
Steve Zahn is a magical creature that's just the bizarro version of Crispin Glover. And apparently when you type in Crispin Glover and Steve Zahn into the Google box, there is a weird WordPress page called Crispin Zahn, where they just kind of merge the faces, and it's incredible. But also supposedly the two of them are in a movie together that's supposed to be coming out. That's based off of a book that I've not read from that series. I've read some of the stuff, some of the other stuff that the author's done, but who knows if that movie got canceled. But that's not this. This movie was fun. It was Princess Bride if the Princess Bride was a Nintendo, and the story's being told about himself.
Nice.
It was fun. I don't know if this movie kind of like rises up to that level of like, this is going to be on my annual Christmas movie rotation. But it's brand new, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But it was fun. And the cast was really good.
The child actors so far have been doing pretty damn good.
I think they hit the late 80s vibe really well without just like really leaning too hard into it like Stranger Things. Like this wasn't so much about nostalgia as much as it was just like, all right, 80s New York is the setting. Cell phones aren't a thing, so you got payphones for anybody listening. That's that big box that you might see in Doctor Who.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, stranger danger wasn't a thing. Like meeting David Cross under a bridge to get a Cabbage Patch doll in the late 80s. Honestly, kind of a normal thing to do.
Gotta get it.
No, the movie was fun. Yeah, the movie was fun.
You're not a good parent if you don't do that.
Sorry, guys. We had our doors replaced today, and they took the thing for the alarm system off the door.
Oh, shit.
And my alarm system just started screaming at us. So...
Well, thank you for saving our ears as well as the ears of our
listeners.
I
muted the microphone. To make sure.
I just see you being like, just you're bug-eyed out of the corner like, what the hell right there?
Well, yeah, I started hearing it. My dog started going crazy.
But I guess this movie is also brought to you by the same team that brought you Elf. So there's got to be, obviously there's going to be heart. There's going to be family-oriented, a little bit of, Christmassy, heartwarming cheer. So when I get through it, I'll probably enjoy it, and I'm more than likely will add it as like a one-off Christmas most of the time.
It's got a good elf-like Christmas message.
Nice, Perfect. I expect nothing
Sweet.
less. Next up, this. The only reason I even thought about this movie, Red Notice, is that on Netflix, was because an article came across my desk, which is whatever form you want to think about that might happen. It was like Netflix has done something incredible where they just basically threw away the big release day. They were like, yeah, we don't really have to announce a big blockbuster film with big names like Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Gal Gadot. Like, it just, here it is. Like, here's a movie. And it was actually pretty damn fun. I'm not going to lie to you. I actually made a point to watch it today so I can speak to it now. It was, most of the time it was fun. There's going to be a couple of moments where, like, you see some things coming because it is supposed to be kind of a, not necessarily spy, but thief thriller. And I'm going to take off the spoiler banners because I'm going to try to avoid giving anything away. But my point is, I didn't get a lot of ads for this other than the social media accounts from the people involved in it. They're, by themselves, their marketing power is just as big as some agencies could be, right? Like, so much so that even in the middle of the movie, Ryan is literally drinking aviation gin. And there's another part in the movie where The Rock is drinking his tequila. Like, this movie might as well have just been both of them just jerking each other off, like, the entire time. And half the script supposedly was just ad-libbed by Ryan Reynolds because he's just foaming at the mouth whenever he thinks when it comes out. And if it sticks, it sticks. But, like, it was fun. I mean, if I'm being honest, it does the whole gambit of going through what is seemingly impossible heists that somehow magically work in everybody's favor. It is a little bit like I'll say it's the opposite of like a Pixar movie. One of the rules of any Pixar film is coincidence gets you into trouble versus gets you out of trouble. This is the opposite of that. There's always just some little like slick move that happens that magically makes them get away with something. But it was fun. If you got nothing, like 2 hours to just want to hear Ryan Reynolds throw jabs at Dwayne and Dwayne kind of flip him right back at him and watch them run around and behave silly while they try to steal eggs, go for it. It's literally, I think it's like one of the top movies in 93 different countries. It had the same amount of viewership supposedly as Squid Game. Like, it's crazy.
It's fucking Ryan Reynolds, The Rock, and Gal Gadot. Like, and they're all hot right now. If you made this movie 15 years ago with fucking Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and whoever, it would be the same thing.
It have to be a woman there. Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say Antonio Banderas or Kirsten Dunst, and I was going to be like, oh yeah, they did that. It's called Interview with a Vampire.
Interview with the Vampire. Like, I mean,
no, 15 years ago, you Salma Hayek.
Yeah, Salma Hayek. There you go.
Well, but like, if you saw this in theater, none of us would have watched it. Like, you're not going to the theater to watch these.
I never.
Like,
it's the same thing with Free Guy. Like,
I heard Free Guy was actually hilariously great.
I heard it was too. I think Ernie, you said it was pretty funny.
It's fun. It's pretty damn fun.
I think I like Ryan Reynolds. I am not on the Ryan Reynolds is the hottest and funniest person on the planet train that most of the internet is right now. I like him. I liked him in Blade Trinity. That was the only redeeming quality of that movie.
Yep.
Other than Triple H. Triple H was fucking sweet. And then, I liked him in Deadpool. My dad hates superhero movies, but he loves Deadpool. It's like his favorite superhero movie. And like, I like The Rock in small doses. I think he was very good in the Fast and the Furious movies. And I don't think Gal Gadot can act, unfortunately. I mean,
I'm with you on that.
I think she's good as Wonder Woman because Wonder Woman is kind of like emotionless a lot of the time, and that was part of the problem with Wonder Woman 2 was that she was going through this whole like heartbreak thing with Chris Pine character and all that
60 years
stuff.
later,
and, like,
it's still not over it. Or 40 years later.
Only redeeming quality of Wonder Woman 2 for me was what's her face, Kristen Wiig, as Cheetah. But yeah, Ashley saw this and she was like, "This looks kind of fun," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun." And Ryan Reynolds and The Rock will quip each other, and Gal Gadot will also quit because she does that too. All of these three have been in Fast and the Furious movies, so
True.
Everybody's been in Fast and the Furious now, though.
that's not true.
On a long enough timeline, it will be.
You think Tom Cruise is going to be in a Fast and the Furious movie?
Oh, you wait. Mission Impossible 10 is going to be a crossover event.
Between what? Fast and Furious,
with Fast and the Furious.
And the
Yeah.
Expendables?
Dude, when you see Luda show up in a Mission Impossible movie, you know it's coming.
Hell yeah.
I just want
I'll go
Sylvester
broke.
Stallone to show up. Like, in that.
So,
how
my only
great
issue
would
with
that
this
be? Dolph
movie-
Lundgren? Great.
I haven't watched it. We watched that movie that The Rock did with Emily Blunt, with the River Cruise or something.
Jungle Cruise.
Jungle Cruise.
Jungle Cruise. We watched that one the other day, just to see if our kid would pay attention. It was fun. But the Rock is the Rock. He can go by Dwayne Johnson. I don't care. He's the Rock.
He's the Rock.
Ryan Reynolds, very much the same. He was Ryan Reynolds in Van Wilder, and that's just who he is.
It works.
There's only one movie that he did some like rom-com with, I think, Sandra Bullock or something.
The Proposal.
Proposal.
Yeah, it's
that
not weird.
one.
We both know that one.
That was
We're both
that's
married.
that's like the only Ryan Reynolds movie that I can think of where when I think of that movie, I don't think of Ryan Reynolds the person.
What's the one where he was fat and then became skinny?
He was Ryan Reynolds in that movie.
My Best Friend?
I can't remember. Isn't Anna Faris in that movie too?
Yeah, that's like the girl he loves, and he's like lost all this weight. But anyway, I digress.
It's like I've got nothing
Friends.
against him.
Just Friends.
Just
I got nothing
Friends
against
is the
him,
name of the
and I
movie.
think he's really funny. And I
Agreed.
think The Rock's comedic timing has gotten a lot better over the years.
Yeah.
And his company
But-
helped produce the movie, so it wasn't going to be
Yeah.
complete trash.
But I mean, like, I wouldn't, just because these three are together in a movie, I wouldn't call it a blockbuster. This is exactly the kind of movie that Netflix can dump on a Wednesday and just be like, "Hey, new movie with the three biggest names in Hollywood right now."
And it hits number
Because
one and goes wild.
Every movie Ryan Reynolds is in is just like, it's him. He is. It's like Keanu Reeves, but not ironic.
Worse.
Like Keanu Reeves is just showing up now as Keanu Reeves, but like when I watch his movies, I don't think like, oh, that's Keanu in real life.
Right.
Ryan Reynolds, I watch his movies, I'm like,
That's
if he was sitting on my couch next to me, he'd be
this
the
is
exact same person.
person. Yes. Well,
There's another movie on Netflix called Red Notice that came out this year as well.
There's two Red Notices.
was it
there's
have
two
Bruce
Red
Willis and
Notices.
John Cusack in it? Like just as equally
No.
obscure, used to be A-list actors.
And I was excited because I thought we were going to talk about that one because I watched that one.
That's
It's
awesome.
called SAS Red Notice, and it has Sam Heughan,
Yep.
the guy from
Outlander.
Outlander. And
yeah, we
and
literally
the
just talked about
girl
this the other week, right? Ruby Rose.
Yeah, like, and that movie was fucking sweet.
It's like the birth of Black Swan or some shit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the birth of Black Swan.
Whatever it's called. But no, to your point, like Netflix definitely just kind of dropped this on a Wednesday, and to me this reminds me of the movie Euro Trip, right? In the middle of Euro Trip, they end up in Poland, and the guy who like picks them up, he's like, "Oh yes, you have this show in America, Miami Vice, #1 hit new show," and they're like, "Miami Vice, like this is." This is the exact same thing. These three are big, not just, they're big names here, but it's like you've heard, All Star by Smash Mouth now on the radio for 5 years. And you're like, God, if I ever hear that song again, I want to cut my wrist. We're kind of getting to that point with these three actors, but the rest of the world slowly is like not quite there yet. Like they're like, oh
See, this
shit,
is the
have you heard
tricky
this
spot.
new album, Astro Lounge from Smash Mouth? It's a banger. Like they're just getting to it.
This is the tricky spot that Netflix is putting themselves in because they've gone through such a transformation in the last 2 years because of the streaming wars and everybody pulling their content from Netflix, that they've had to dump so much money into original content. And a lot of their stuff has gotten a lot better in the last 2 to 5 years when it comes to original content. But they're walking a really fine line with something like this because, when you got these three together, your bottom line is still really high worldwide. because everybody knows these people, everybody loves these people. But you also know the movie's not going to be that good. It can only be so good. And so Netflix is in a really precarious position because they need to like not be that company that just puts out like mediocre film after mediocre film after mediocre film. But they do really well because it's got all the highest paid actors in Hollywood in it.
Yeah. And they don't have to have a lot of marketing, like I said.
Yeah.
What movie do you mostly watch?
Yep.
Okay, we've got somebody from the comments asking. They're saying that Netflix should. I'm going to call you out. Hey, Sean just said, "Hey, Netflix should go into porn." I said it. Even mediocre porn, we'd all watch it. But you know what you gonna do. So yeah. On that note. Thanks, Sean.
I love that we just spent like the last 15 minutes shitting on Ryan Reynolds. This is awesome. Like we're like the most polarizing people on the planet right now.
Well, I like the guy. I like the guy. I don't like Jen, and his Jen is good. I'll give him that too.
I like Ryan Reynolds as a person.
Of the celebrity alcohols, Aviation Gin is probably the best one.
What? You mean you don't like that Crystal Skull vodka from Dan Aykroyd?
Or Casamigos? Shitty ass tequila.
Is that from George Clooney? Who does that one?
I think that's from
that Guy Fieri.
The Migos. I think Casamigos is from
the House of
Quavo.
Migos.
I think it's from the Migos. I think it's Amigos. I don't know. Oh, it is George Clooney.